So for 38 and a half years, my dad drove from our house, where I grew up, about 35 minutes from here, to this exit, Baumhart Road, Lorain, Ohio, because he worked right over here, Lincoln, not at the Lorain Industrial Park, just down the way, just a little ways here. He worked at a building that is half here now. Some of it's been torn down, but the entire reason, or the entire factory, is not used anymore. I'll show you. It's just down here, just a little ways. We are driving a Ford. My dad spent 38 and a half years working at Lorain Assembly Plant here. This Ford plant is just down the way. The building is still here, but part of it has been torn down. It actually closed when my dad retired. Like, he had the option if he wanted to move to Avon Lake or Brook Park around the Cleveland airport. But he's like, no, I drive far enough. I work long enough. He was young, though. My dad retired at 55. He's currently going to be 77 next month. So he might have been 56. Let's take it back. I think he was 56. Or he was getting ready to turn 56. But right here, this was where Papa would drive to, Lincoln.
Are we allowed to go out here?
Yeah. And so they have something else here in that part of the building. And then the building went here. And then they ripped out a big section in the middle. And then it went all the way down there. They built Econoline vans, which is the full-size vans. I don't think they make anymore because they get transits.
And they made like Harry and Mars van.
Yeah, that was a Dodge van, Harry and Mars van. But they made Ford vans here. At one time, they made the Thunderbird, Harry and Mars van. He made vans that size, but not. That was a Dodge van. They didn't make. A lot of times in the Dukes, they have the old Ford vans. Like the bad guys will have an Econoline. And then they made Thunderbirds here until they discontinued the Thunderbird. I don't know when that was, early 2000s. They discontinued it, brought it back, I don't know. But a lot of factory up that way that they tore down. And right over here. This is where he worked at. So this factory here, there's no gates up. I don't know if they use any of that. That looks completely empty.
Yeah, that's empty.
Yeah, windows are busted. What part and everything that he exactly, worked. He had worked on the assembly line, of course, for a couple decades, and then he was in what they call cleanup, which is a little easier job than, at least you're not always doing something like the assembly line. You can't really stop. And I'll tell you one thing he did do. The end of the assembly line was over this way, I guess, or somewhere this way. And then when the vans would roll off, Lincoln, he would get in that van that they just built and be the first person to drive it. And they would go over this bridge right here, and then they would park the newly built vans over this lot. So they would come out of that building somewhere. He'd be the first one to drive it. Brand new.
So every car he made, he drove?
Not every one of them, because there'd be other guys doing it. And then they would park them over here. I do not know how many they built per day or per night or anything like that.
He probably drove a lot of them.
He drove thousands.
What?
Thousands.
Thousands of cars?
Yep. And they'd park right here in this empty lot. All right, we can go.
You have to be kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. It feels like we're on the wrong side of the road, but we're not. All right.
He hasn't even lived for 1,000 years.
He didn't live for 1,000 years. I said he drove thousands of cars. It's interesting that sign said, "Welcome to Lorain," and this says, "Welcome to Vermilion."
Hey, we went here.
We've been here, yeah.